In tonight's Government Insider, SES reform. The Senior Executive Service includes more than 7,000 top-level civil servants. They're critical to federal agencies, especially from a management perspective. SESers bridge the gap between administrations and steer agencies toward long-term objectives. But the group complains that it's underpaid and under attack. President Obama wants to improve their outlook. Joining me with the latest is Joe Davidson, Federal Diary columnist at the Washington Post. Joe, define the SES for us. Who are these federal workers and what kinds of jobs do they hold?
Well, as you indicated, they are at the very top level of the federal government's civil service. There's only about 7,000 of them compared to maybe 2 million employees in total. So it's a pretty elite corps, far less than 1% of the overall workforce. Now, these are top career people, and so they interact with the political people who are appointed by the presidents. But the political people come and go. And so these top career people are the ones who really keep the agencies going from administration to administration. They carry out administration policies, and they really are a critical leadership level for the federal government.
You're right. These are the worker bees. We've had them on the program before, and they're the ones through various administrations know where everything is. They keep the government running. They're represented by a group called the Senior Executives Association. The SEA says it's been a rough few years. They point to inadequate pay, limited recognition, and congressional attacks.
Right.
Tell us more about their grievances. What stands out?
Well, the pay is at the top of their agenda. Like many executives in private industry, the senior executives rely on bonuses or performance awards for their compensation. They consider that not just something extra, but in a sense an integral part of their compensation, assuming, of course, that they earned, that they do a job that's high enough quality to get a bonus, which they are expected to do. But the amount of money available for bonuses has been capped in recent years, and so that limits the amount of bonuses these people can get. On the congressional front, the VA is a prime example of the reason the Senior Executive Service feels like they're under attack. Because of the scandals at the VA, which have been well documented and which have involved members of the Senior Executive Service, Congress and the administration have approved legislation, this was last year, that makes it easier to fire senior executives by really, in my view, undermining and undercutting their due process rights. Nonetheless, it is the law, and it's one example, a prime example perhaps, of why the Senior Executive Service feels like it's under attack.
Now, Joe, last December, President Obama met with 3,000 senior executives in the ballroom of the Washington Hilton. What happened at that meeting?
Well, in some ways, it was really a feel-good meeting. The president had been urged to meet with the senior executives for years, all throughout his first term, and now it didn't happen until midway through his second term, just about a year ago. But it really was a big hit. I mean, all he had to do was really show them some love, give them a little appreciation, basically say thank you. In fact, he acknowledged that he wasn't arriving at the meeting loaded down with perks or money for raises for them, but he just wanted to say thank you, we appreciate your work. And I think that went a long way toward helping the senior executives feel better. Of course, it doesn't overcome the limit on bonuses and other things, but it does make them feel, it did at the time at least, make them feel better, I think, about being in this senior executive service, and it was a morale booster.
And now you're reporting the Obama administration will sign a new executive order. It's designed to bolster the SES. How so?
Well, he wants to do a few things. One, he does want to increase their pay gradually over time, although he did not call for raising that cap on the amount of money available for bonuses. So just how that pay is going to be increased remains to be seen. He also wants to increase the rotational assignments for senior executive service members. One of the tenets of the senior executive service is that its members have some familiarity with other agencies other than the one that they were hired into, and perhaps even outside organizations, including state and local governments and certain eligible outside organizations. This is designed to give them a broader array of experiences and to learn how government services affect other agencies and other organizations. And so he wants to increase the rotational assignments for senior executives, and this is something that others outside of government have also called for.
Joe, as we've been discussing, compensation is a big part of the equation here.
Right.
Does President Obama have the authority to give SESers the pay they want, or does he need Congress to do that?
Well, to some extent, he can act. Congress does set overall pay raises following the president's initiative and proposals. However, when it comes to lifting the cap on the bonuses that we talked about, that cap was put in place by the administration, and so the administration can lift that cap. And now, should he lift that cap, I think that would go a long way toward making the senior executives happier than they are now. But there was no indication in this draft executive order that I wrote about that cap is going to be lifted or proposed to be lifted.
We appreciate the update. Joe Davidson, Federal Diary columnist at the Washington Post. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.